Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. By the time you're watching this, it's probably some point in space-time after Thanksgiving. In that case, happy whatever today is. I've just been seeing headlines on Drake suing somebody over the beef. For those of you that don't know what went on, here's a one-sentence recap. Drake and Kendrick got in a beef. End recap. So Drake fans are going to say Drake won. K-Dot fans say K-Dot won. And everyone in between says K-Dot won. I personally think K-Dot bodied that whole situation. There was one moment where he lost the lead. It was like a Super Bowl. It was like one of those situations where you're only up by one score, but it was very comfortably. Like, you're pretty sure you're going to win. For one moment, Drake might have been up by a field goal, but then K-Dot came back and ended up running the score up on him. Drake released some like flash drive or something. I never peeped it, but from a PR perspective, I thought that was pretty well intended. I wasn't mad at it, but some of the contents in that folder apparently just proved more of what Kendrick was saying about Drake. So I just wanted to peep what the situation is about. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna post this. So these are all my porn tabs. Don't worry about that. We on XXL Mag. Wait, we on XXL Mag via MSN. What? Anyway, story about Vernon Coleman II. Thank you, Vernon Coleman I, for having sex and giving us Vernon Coleman II to give us this article. Give props where it's due. Drake could have sued Kendrick, but he chose to go after UMG and Spotify instead. Assuming that this first half of the sentence that he could have sued Kendrick as if it wasn't consideration, the fact that he didn't do that says that Drake at least has that self-awareness to know that if he did that, that would just look really bad. Because one of the criticisms against him is that he ain't from the culture. He's like a guest, and he's like that guest you invite over and all of a sudden he's sleeping in the master bedroom, shitting in the master bathroom, eating up all the food. That's criticism. What your beliefs on it are, I don't know. I don't know either of them. I've definitely met more than a few people that know Drake. So everything I heard about Drake is secondhand. It's not thirdhand. It's not shit I'm reading, and it's not speculation. It's people who know him. But because I don't personally know Drake, I'm going to try as best I can not to make personal judgments. All right. So he filed 2 pre-action petitions in connection to the single Not Like Us. So in the first one, he filed in New York Supreme Court, where he accuses UMG and Spotify of conspiring to artificially inflate Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us numbers by using bots and payola, and claims they violated the racketeer, influenced, and corrupt organization. What the fuck? That's what RICO stood for? Oh, I knew the R was for racketeer, but the NY Deceptive Business Act and the NUF. Okay, got you. All right, real quick before I move on. The headline that I first saw, it was on a YouTube video. It said Drake is suing Kendrick. I'm glad that's false, because I was about to go off on Drake. You can't try to be a part of a culture like hip hop culture and then go and tell, you know what I mean? Like, if you were a civilian, let me amend that a little bit. If you're a civilian and your whole background is civilian, call the cops. It's what you're supposed to do. However, if you're not a civilian, if you're something else, why would you ever cooperate? There's a couple gray areas, like say you're locked up and there's an asshole CO in there. He's taking advantage of the situation. He's fucking you up, doing things he shouldn't do to you personally, and you have a chance to file paperwork on him. There are some people who would say, yeah, fuck the CO, I'm gonna file a report. And there's some people who said, I don't give a fuck, I'm not cooperating no matter what, even if the perp is a cop. In this situation with Drake and K-Dot, Drake has songs in his catalog where he's talking about street shit. And in my mind, you can't do that and then go and snitch to the law when you lose. So those first headlines that I read, which were apparently false, said Drake suing K-Dot. I thought that was a bad look, because basically this isn't Drake's first rap beef. This is the first one that he lost like this. So it's equivalent to somebody who's kind of throwing their weight around. They'll get in a rap beef with you, and when he loses, now he wants to go tell. When he wins, it's fine. When he loses, he wants to go tell on somebody. So that was the first thought that crossed my mind that made me potentially want to release this YouTube video. But to be clear, he is not suing K-Dot. He's suing UMG and Spotify. That's a little different. Now, in my opinion, that's still on the same sucker shit, because I'm sure Drake knows. Say that he won a rap beef in the past and the other guy lost, and they wanted to sue somebody, UMG and Spotify, after the fact. Drake would be patting himself on the back like, damn, not only did I beat him, now I'm making him squirm. And if Drake wanted to, he could probably release another song or a tweet making fun of dude who's trying to sue somebody because he lost, right? Like, it just wouldn't work both ways. It would be like a double standard, if that's the correct term. The fact that Drake sued made me think that he wanted to get a get back, but he knew he couldn't do it to K-Dot because K-Dot won. You can't come at him this late in the game. So going back to his first legal action, which is just a pre-action petition. And as far as I know, a pre-action petition is the document you file before a lawsuit is formally initiated. You're just kind of gathering information, getting your evidence and shit. That's going to be really important for your potential future case. So he's accusing UMG and Spotify of artificially inflating Not Like Us. Two thoughts come to mind. The first one, if you love Trump, great. If you don't, great. With presidents, I'm pretty agnostic. I just care about the policies for the most part. Just want to preface with that because there was an election where Trump lost and he thought there's no way I could lose, so this shit must be fake. He must have cheated. Now, whether that's true or not in the US election is not really what this video is about. I don't even really think about it that much. But what this Drake situation sounds like is that there's no way he thinks that Not Like Us would be doing better than his shit. Therefore, they must have cheated. It sounds like the same kind of shit. It's almost like denial. This leads me to believe that Drake thinks there's no way that that song should have done that well. However, if the turns were tabled and his did numbers astronomically higher than K-Dot's, I'm sure he wouldn't be thinking, oh dang, why are my numbers this high? Must be artificially inflated. No, he'd think I did that. It's because I'm the shit and K-Dot isn't. That's what he'd be thinking. But since K-Dot had a more successful song in their beef, it's breaking his brain a little bit. So I feel like psychologically, Drake's idealizations of himself in the world and how he fits in it are not matching with the reality that he's experiencing. And when we are all presented with that sort of situation and inner conflict, one of the first things that we do is to find a reason for it. Why is this happening? Why the disparity? And we'll choose a disparity that still preserves our idealization. So in Drake's case, I'm still the best. The only reason why K-Dot's numbers did better is because the important people are taking his side and artificially inflating. But I believe most of the people were on my side. Motherfucker drinking his own Kool-Aid. The second thing that comes to mind is this is actually a huge issue. Artificially inflating numbers on platforms like Spotify. If you're a major label, artificially inflating the numbers is a part of the tactic. They just chalk it up to part of their marketing efforts. A song's gonna look better if it has a big number next to it. A YouTube video is gonna look better if it has a big number next to it. So major labels do that. I'm like 100% sure they've done that for Drake. They've done that for probably almost all their artists. There are marketing type agencies that'll do that for social media posts, YouTube videos. It's a part of their strategy. So yes, of course, a major label in Spotify is going to artificially inflate the numbers of any song. Why that pisses me off is if you're an indie artist and you artificially inflate your numbers, even by, I don't know, 1,000, 10,000, some little number, you can get your account deleted. You'll get punished. But if a major label's doing it and they're aware of it, obviously, it's good. Double standard. So I thought that was very interesting. My second point to that, as far as major labels being allowed to do it, indie artists not being allowed to do it, being punished for doing the same thing, is a whole separate topic. But this is crazy to me because I'm like, unless Drake is really oblivious, I'm sure he's aware that his songs are getting artificially inflated from time to time, depending on the project, as part of the marketing effort. There's a bonus thought that comes to mind. He is filing a petition for them doing that for K-Dot. Yet how would he feel if someone filed a petition because a label did that for Drake? Drake would probably find that corny. He would probably find that to be on some goofy hater shit. Yet he's doing it. He's trying to get somebody punished for doing something for Kendrick that Drake has also been able to enjoy. So that whole shit, considering all those points, mad corny. And honestly, he's putting UMG in a really tough bind. If I was UMG, I'd be looking at Drake a little bit different after this. If I was Spotify, honestly, I probably wouldn't be tripping, because if I'm Spotify, there's already a lot of people trying to come after me for this and related topics. So it's somewhat well thought out potentially, but also considering all the points I said, I don't think it's fully thought out. Like, bruh, just let it go. It's okay that you lost. Now work on rebuilding yourself. Maybe even nudge your brand a little bit. Try to play chess, coexist with people like Kendrick. But going on to the second legal action, he accused UMG of defamation for releasing Not Like Us, which falsely accused Drake of being a sex offender and colluding with iHeartRadio in a play for pay scheme. So I don't really know how iHeartRadio works. I'm not really someone who likes to speak on shit that I don't really be known about, but falsely accusing Drake of being a sex offender, I don't think this is more like what my initial thought was when I first saw headlines. Drake, you did the same thing. Every song you released in that beef, you was defaming him, bruh. That's what the whole point was. Y'all was defaming each other. Now, defaming assumes that the thing being said is not true. So in the mosaic of the situation, some things were not defamation. Some things were real and some things were, they're claiming to be false. But both sides are sitting in that same boat. What if Kendrick said that because he believed it to be true, but it was false? Well, you said some things by Kendrick that you believed to be true, but was false. Or what if they're just saying it's false, but it was actually true? You could say the same thing for the other side. So basically, it's a mirror image. So why do you get to be mad at the other side when you did the same thing, bro? Like, K-Dot could have easily done the same thing. He could have easily, by your logic, accused UMG of defamation for releasing songs that falsely accused him of doing some shit. I see rap beefs as like a fade. It's like musicians from the street having a fade. They battling with their art form. And whatever the outcome is, that's the outcome. Live to fight another day. That's why we fade versus unaliving each other. I've been in plenty of fades. I've won and I've lost. I don't give a shit. To me, the important part is that you stood up on your morals and your values. You didn't fold, and whether I win or lose is not really a factor in why I don't only take fights that I'm going to win and then shy away from fights that I'm going to lose. To me, that's not what fighting is about. Fighting is about fighting for something. So when that something comes up or that something's threatened, then you fight. Winning or losing is irrelevant after that. So they fought through their music, a little musical fade. That's equivalent to me getting in a fade and I'm swinging on somebody, they swinging on me, I'm punching them, they punching me. And if I win, I'm like, yeah, but if I lose, then I want to sue somebody because they punched me. Bro, I was punching him too. How am I going to sue him for doing something to me that I was doing to him too? That's what this shit sound like. And this is all obviously very pointed at Kendrick, at least in spirit, but he's trying to punish UMG for it. Now here's why this is stupid to me. UMG, I believe, is his label. Not like he owns it, but that's the label he's under. All of this is because he's mad at K-Dot. He's mad for losing to K-Dot, but he's punishing his label? I think I remember UMG being like, hey, both of y'all, relax a little bit. Let's end the beef here or pretty soon. So UMG was trying to look out for both of them. They didn't want it to get worse as far as my perception of it. This, I believe, is going to put a strain on Drake's relationship with UMG. And this is the risk you take when you get in a rap beef, bro. Because let's say UMG did notice that Not Like Us is the song that had the most potential out of this whole situation. They want to get numbers. They want to get eyes and ears so they can get those dimes and nickels. That's part of the risk of getting in a rap beef with someone who's in the same label as you. Your label may put some wind behind the songs that could do numbers for them. Obviously, they're a label. They're a business. That's what they're in business for, to make money off of music. And there's a chance that the song that they're going to believe in the most is either Drake's or Kendrick's. Could have went either way. That's part of the risk. It went with Kendrick. If one of Drake's songs was the top song, he'd be happy. And if it isn't, he wants to sue everybody. Bro, what was that meme? I think it was a skit or a meme or a real video that turned into a meme. Somebody had road rage and they wanted to get at the guy in the driver's seat or cut him off or whatever. And then he saw the guy in the driver's seat was some scary dude. And so he started yelling at the guy in the back seat. for something the guy in the driver's seat did, but they didn't want to go after the guy in the driver's seat because they were scared of him.
I may have just cut this guy off in traffic.
God damn it.
What the fuck was that about, huh? What's up, you fat pig? What, you don't see where you're fucking going?
I wasn't even driving.
Don't shut the fuck up, you fucking piece of bacon!
Why'd I get picked up?
So he was just firing off on dude in the back seat. Yeah, that's Drake right now. So here's a good point. So his claims involve K-Dot's chart-topping single. Kendrick's not named in either filing, which raises the question right here. Is this more about beef or Drake disrupting a broken system? I think any evolved hominid is gonna believe that it's about the beef. If it was about the broken system, why now? He benefited from it. Both sides threw punches. He's been in beefs before, where he got to enjoy being on the other side of this. Drake don't give a fuck about this system, the broken system. He is in the position that most benefited from this kind of system. And as soon as he wasn't the beneficiary of the system, now he's got a problem with it. Come on, man. It ain't about the system. Now here's one where I could be wrong. Maybe he's been losing sleep at night for years about his artificially inflated numbers on certain projects, or his shit being a beneficiary of favoritism from the system because he's such a big artist and he's going to do the most numbers compared to other artists. And maybe he's been losing sleep over that for a decade. And this was just the final straw. But I kind of find that hard to believe, but that's something I'll never know for sure. What I think it's really about is this word, petty. Drake is a petty person. And Vernon Coleman II said that leaving Kendrick out of the filings proves that this might be deeper than rap. I think alluding to the potential that this is more about the broken system, or that that is a large part of it. I don't think so. I think it's just because he's self-aware enough to know that he can't do that and have a career at the end. That's going to make damage control way harder for him. He's not that stupid, I believe. So the author says there's been mixed reviews on this chess move. UMG and Spotify artificially boosting streams for NLU using bots, influencers, and algorithmic manipulation. That's what content creation is. Like, people be using bots. Of course you're going to use influencers. Everyone uses influencers. A new product comes out, a new VR headset, a new vibrator. They're going to send it to some influencers. Algorithmic manipulation. That's what you're supposed to do. If you're in the marketing department of some company, you're trying to understand the algorithm so that you can manipulate it. That's your job. It's not evil or illegal. It's part of it. Any sport works like that. Where are the rules? What can you get away with? What can you not get away with? And how do you quote unquote manipulate that? If you're an offensive lineman in the NFL, how do you block somebody without getting a holding call called on you? So the author goes on to say that one person wrote on it, he's not suing because he lost, but because they violated the false advertising laws and the RICO Act to try and harm his career. Y'all just lazy to read. That's important because those initial headlines I saw where he was suing Kendrick and all this and that, I think other people just read headlines and spoke on it. They didn't actually read the filings. Now, admittedly, I didn't read the filings. I'm just reading this article. They're claiming to read the filings. I'm just trusting them. So maybe I'm a hypocrite. Maybe I'm a piece of shit too. If I am, feel free to tell me below. Please be gentle. I'm fragile. He's not suing because he lost, but because they violated the false advertising laws and the RICO Act to try and harm his career. That's a very good point. I feel like that's the strongest point for Drake so far. It even makes him sound like a martyr or a freedom fighter of some sort. I think this is great. I think they should stick with this as far as doing damage control on Drake's image. But the reason why that won't hit for me is because he has been the beneficiary of these things in the past, once again. And when he's on the losing side, all of a sudden it's not okay. It's just going to be hard for me to get down with that. If he was an up-and-comer and he was never the beneficiary of these tactics, but they were used against him, and the beneficiary was whoever this up-and-comer was beefing with, who was an established superstar, then I'd be like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna be a folk hero. I'm gonna write poetry about him. There's gonna be a statue of him put up in Greece somewhere. But that's not the case. He was the whale that benefited from this the most. It's not gonna work for me, but I feel like a lot of people could jack this sentence. I feel like they should stick with that in their efforts. I don't think I know anyone from UMG personally as far as people at the top office. I was with Rough Riders affiliate label who was also under UMG. I wasn't in the offices and shit. I was like in the studio, smoking tree, drinking 40s, banging the keyboard, making music, mixing shit down. I was like a foot soldier, I guess, in the industry. But he was with Young Money, which is also UMG, kind of cool. So this is good insight right here. The relationship between Drake and UMG has soured, and Drake is now calling out the label for using illegal means, blah, 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 blah. That's a good point. That might make me take back some of what I said. In particular, that this whole string of legal action is going to strain his relationship with UMG. Maybe it's already soured. Maybe he already tried to tap in with them. And the way that unfolded was that their relationship is already kind of fucked. So potentially, I don't know what the sources are for this statement that the relationship is soured as far as the relationship between Drake and UMG. How? Did it sour and that's why he's filing these documents? Or is he filing these documents and that's why the relationship is souring? If it soured before the filing, how? Why? It could only be because he tried to tap in with them about the situation and he didn't get the response he wanted. And now he's just kind of spazzing out and doing the whole Karen thing. Oh, well, I'm gonna sue you. But listen, Drake is Drake. He's not been my favorite person as far as what people tell me about him. But I do think he's a good artist. He's big, man. So his relationship with UMG sours. What if he gets dropped from the contract or whatever? He's still gonna be fine. Another label can pick him up easily. Or if he wanted to go completely indie, he has such a huge fan base. He could just release stuff on his own. He could just get a DistroKid and just do it by himself. He knows so many people. I think he'll be fine, even without UMG. So if people want to see Drake's career completely end, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, clearly he still has fans that even through the aftermath, they still stick by him. They still believe that he won. They'll ride and die for him forever, stand down and stand by. I just think that this whole shit is just corny on Drake's part. Now UMG, looks like they did make a statement. They denied Drake's accusations. A spokesperson said the following statement to XXL in response. The suggestion that UMG would do anything to undermine any of its artists is offensive and untrue. We employ the highest ethical practices. I don't know about that, but we employ the highest ethical practices in our marketing and promotional campaigns. No amount of contrived and absurd legal arguments in this pre-action submission can mask the fact that fans choose the music they want to hear. So they're denying it. Fans choose the music they want to hear. Of course, that's technically true. As far as artificially inflated numbers, if they're denying that, they're obviously full of shit. I mean, it's been proven. And if you don't believe me, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of information and material out there that presents the evidence. But where I can resonate with this is, even if UMG wasn't involved whatsoever, let's just say Drake and Kendrick released their beef tracks just on their YouTube channels. They uploaded it and published it themselves. People who follow the beef are probably going to be subscribed with alerts. Spoiler alert, you could do that to this channel too, to keep up with the beef. All those fans are going to listen to the songs and they're going to react based on how they feel. UMG is not going to put a water gun to anyone's head and say, you better like this song more. No, the people decide what they like more. And based on that, they're probably going to add some songs to their Spotify playlist. And I'll tell you, living in New York City, I did not hear any of Drake's songs from this rap beef ever throughout the whole thing and in the aftermath. All I heard was Kendrick's songs. That's what people are rocking with on the Bluetooth speakers and the coffee shop speakers and the goddamn grocery stores and their vehicles, all of that. Which brings me back to my belief that Drake just can't accept reality because it's not matching with what his picture of it should be. Drake has yet to officially file the lawsuit, with his pre-action petitions essentially being a fact-finding mission. Right, yeah, we know what that is. A mission that appears to be bigger than a retaliation for taking an L. If I'm going to be honest, based on the tone of this article, they did not attack Kendrick whatsoever. However, I do get the feeling that this is a Drake sympathizer. I think they bring up an interesting point that this could be about something deeper. This could be about a broken system, but it was mentioned more than a few times, and it was used as the concluding sentence that this mission could be bigger than a retaliation. Now, I don't know how Vernon Coleman, I don't know his workflow for writing, if he just kind of just starts typing and then just keeps going until he feels like he's done, or if he's someone who sort of maps out his article from the beginning and he knows how he's going to conclude it from the beginning based on the idea that he wants to push forward in this article. In either case, it seems like it was very important to them that they had to emphasize more than a couple times that he's not saying it is, he's just saying that he believes it is, about Drake fighting the system, which obviously paints Drake as a hero. Well written, definitely educated me a lot, so I really thank you, C. Vernon Coleman II, for doing that for all of us. However, as a rethinking individual, I'm not jacking a lot of this shit, bro. I mean, good luck to everyone. I think I had a video about the beef when it was happening. Got like negative 400 views or something. I'm a small channel now. I was even smaller back then, where I kind of went over some of the stories that I heard about Drake and people in the industry that made me not want to fuck with him as a person. You can watch it if you want to, but at this point, it's nothing that you probably haven't heard. It was stuff that I had to keep secret because the music industry is kind of like a fraternity, a sorority. We ain't perfect. Some shit goes on the inside, but yet we're all in this life together. We all have to deal with this shit together, and we don't throw each other under the bus like that. So even though I really didn't fuck with some of the shit that Drake did outside of music, I wasn't going around telling. I mean, I might have told a couple people, like my girlfriend or something, because I know she's tight-lipped, winky face. And I might have mentioned a couple things that you could find the information about if you dug deep enough, but there was some stuff that I don't want to be the first person to break that news to the world. I don't even know dude. But now that a lot of the stuff that Kendrick said was coming out and some of it was touching on it, I was like, yo, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of piling in on Drake when that was happening. If that's immoral of me to kind of kick a brother while he's down, yeah, you can get at me for that. I could see that angle. But the shit I was getting at him for, Drake, was some real low down sucker shit that I wish I could have got at him for before. You know what I mean? Maybe I was in on it on some Me Too shit. You know what I mean? But anyway, once again, I don't know if I'm gonna post this. I feel like it's already like mad videos out talking about this. I ain't seen none of them because I wanted this to be from the heart. I didn't want to subconsciously regurgitate information that other people have stated from their original ideas or their original thoughts. I kind of wanted to have my own closing thoughts. Drake's finances and reputation has been negatively affected, but I believe he's gonna be fine. He's almost too big to fail at this point. He could keep doing some corny shit and he'll have more and more damage control to do, but I think he'll still have a career. If he does it right, he's still gonna stay big. I may not like him as a person, but I also know that I haven't met him, so maybe I'd love him in person. And whether I'd love him in person or not, I want him to eat. I just don't want him to do some of this sucker shit that I be hearing he be doing. So I hope he eats. I feel like everything is in the aftermath, including these filings, is clearly an admission of defeat. Like, it's gonna be really hard to stay convinced that Drake won if you have that belief. Unless there's some things I'm really unaware of, it's a significant departure from like traditional rap beefs and how they were resolved. In the past, I mean, I don't keep up with rap beefs like that, but the ones that did cross my radar, however it ended was how it ended. Just like a fade. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe this is the first time a major artist took legal action against their own label over a diss track, which is now shifting the conflict from the artistic realm to the legal realm. Another thing is, I think this is going to put increased eyes and attention on some of these schemes and marketing tactics in music industry practices, which may potentially affect how these major labels promote and market artist music in the future, depending on how all this pans out. I think that these filings could potentially cause labels to be more cautious about releasing controversial content. If that happens, it's gonna be a whole new game in the future. If you see two major label artists beefing in the future, depending on how this legal action goes, this could potentially stifle that raw, unfiltered nature of rap beefs. Another thing from the legal sense is that if this is the first time a major artist has taken legal action against their own label over some shit like this, and if it's successful, it's gonna set a legal precedent for artists to challenge the release and promotion of these diss tracks through legal means. That's going to change the whole landscape of hip-hop rivalries. Another thing is streaming manipulation and chart manipulation. The allegations of that artificial inflation of streaming numbers, it could lead to more stringent monitoring and regulation of streaming platforms and however that they calculate charts. I don't know how they do that, but I think the music industry has always been an industry of gatekeepers. The shit that is pushed by the major labels are going to be the hits traditionally. It's like they got a McDonald's cheeseburger and that's the only thing you put on the plate. Maybe I would prefer a filet mignon, but if the only thing being served to me is a McDonald's hamburger, shout out to McDonald's, that's what I'm gonna eat. And then I'm gonna be into that. Eventually, McDonald's cheeseburgers, that's gonna be part of my regular diet. That's kind of how the music industry traditionally worked. They get to decide what to put on your plate. And it almost has no choice but to be successful. Almost. However, in the current era, the gatekeepers probably have the least power and influence that they've ever had because people can blow up on TikTok music. People blow up on SoundCloud. People blow up through means outside of major labels. And Drake is actually a great example of that. His first album, the way that he released and distributed that was in a very non-traditional way. And even in the case of their beef, people just go on YouTube. Everybody knows these two artists. They don't need an algorithm to be manipulated to become aware. Word of mouth had a lot to do with that. But anyway, I started this channel to have a place to put my music, because even though I'm not active in the music industry anymore, I still love to make music almost as like a journal entry. Sometimes I'll journal, I'll write out my reflections and thoughts, but sometimes I don't want to use words. Sometimes I just want to get on a keyboard and just play how I feel, and I'll make a beat out of it. And then it becomes almost like a journal entry of that moment in my life. And all they do is collect dust on a hard drive. So I thought, let me start a YouTube channel so I have somewhere to put it. It's probably gonna have no more than 3-4 views, whatever. If one of those 3 or 4 people like it, they get something out of it the way I did, that's gonna feel really special to me. I started reacting in particular to international music, mostly K-pop, shit like this, where I'm discovering music that I wouldn't otherwise have listened to on my own and finding an appreciation for it. I wanted to do some video essays or reactions to music industry stuff or music culture stuff, so I still sprinkle that in from time to time. But anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you. How'd your Thanksgiving go? Did you do something special? And you know, Black Friday, Cyber Monday's gonna be right around the corner. Probably already happened by the time this video's out. What were you most excited to get on sale? I'm not known to have a lot of money, so I have like a $300-400 budget for my entire Cyber Monday, Black Friday situation. All I'm probably doing is I might just get some more plugins for my DAW to maybe enrich the music making experience for me a little bit. But anyway, I hope you were surrounded by love in this holiday season. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because you know, we talk about beef, we talk about conflict, but we as humans, we all we got. We all stuck on this planet together. We can either get along or not. We can either coexist or not. The occasional conflict, the occasional static is bound to happen. That's well understood. If you really think about it, speaking for myself as an American, like we good. Like my parents, they came from an impoverished, war-torn, enslaved country. A lot of people coming to this country are escaping similar situations, and they come in here for a reason. Here you're allowed to have freedom of thought. We have choice. We have tools and resources, as imperfect as they are. It's already problems in the world. We don't have to create new ones. If you're somewhere else in the world and you're going through it, there's nothing I can say or do to change your situation or make your life better, but just know that you're loved by some stranger on the internet on the East Coast of the United States. Love up your loved ones, love up your neighbors, love up your enemies, and love up yourself. Peace.